Good evening and welcome to the national news broadcast on ChannelEye. And we are ready to bring you the top stories from home and around the world today as well. So yes, I'm Natalia Veeravardhana.
Good evening, a very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Vinipurarachi, and let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
The President instructs to give Pfizer vaccine as the third dose from the 1st of next month. Primary sections of all government and government-approved private schools will commence on Monday. Travel restrictions between the provinces lifted from the 31st. Environmental friendly fertilizer produced by Sri Lanka Nanotechnology Institute gets 4 US patents.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with local stories. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has given instructions today to health authorities to give the Pfizer vaccine as the third booster dose from the 1st of November under the first phase. Frontline workers including health, security, airport and tourism industry workers will get the third dose. The decision has been taken when the COVID Eradication Committee met over video technology today under the patronage of the President. It was decided to complete vaccination of all eligible children. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that it is a major victory if all those who are expecting to get the vaccine is given the jab. Thereafter, the booster dose can be considered. If vaccination of children is completed, then the booster dose can be given. The frontline workers can be given the vaccine now. Health authorities and the armed forces can commence giving the booster jab.
එක ඉවර කරගත්තෝ ඊළඟට අපිට පුළුවන් බූස්ටර් එක දෙන එකත් පටන් ගන්න. ෆ්‍රන්ට් ලයින් එකේ අයට කොහොමත් අපිට දැම්ම පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන් නේ. සවුත් ඩාන්සය හමුදා ඒ කට්ටියගේ බූස්ටර් එක දෙන්න පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන් නේ.
The COVID Eradication Committee decided to commence train services within the provinces from Monday and between the provinces from the 1st of November. Only the passengers with train season tickets will be permitted to travel in the first phase. The President instructed officials to add more compartments to prevent overcrowding. It was decided to lift provincial travel restrictions at 4 a.m. on the 31st. It was also decided to open primary sections of all schools and grade 11 and 13 after discussions with the educational and health authorities. Attention was paid on the possibility of commencing tuition classes. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that irrespective of whether it is state or private, it is very important to commence education using all health protective measures since the education has been disrupted for 2 years. Steps have been taken by considering all measures including the mental pressure of staying at home.
The Ministry of Education says that primary sections of all government and government-approved private schools will commence on Monday. Under the first phase, primary sections of schools with less than 200 students commenced yesterday. Under the second phase, health authorities have recommended to open primary sections of schools with more than 200 students. Accordingly, the Education Ministry said that they are working with governors, provincial chief secretaries, provincial education secretaries, zonal education directors, chief prelates of Piriven, principals and education officials to open the primary sections of those schools. All Island Professional Lecturers Association says that they expect to open tuition classes with less than 100 students from the 1st of next month. Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi says that train services will be operated from Monday within the provinces. Only passengers with train season tickets will be permitted to travel in them. Accordingly, 50 train services will be operated in the main line and 6 on the northern line, 84 on the coastal line, 8 on Kelani Valley line and 18 on the Putlam line. The Health Ministry says vaccination of children in the ages of 16 and 17 commenced today. Accordingly, vaccination of children between the ages of 16 and 19 is taking place. Vaccination program of school children took place today at Beruwala DS Senanayaka College. Vaccination took place today at Kalutara Velapu Vidyalaya, Jnanodaya Vidyalaya and Kalutara Vidyalaya. A vaccination program was held today at Anuradhapura Nuwaragampalat Pradeshya Sabha. A vaccination program took place today at several schools near Vavuniya town. Vaccination of schools under Kottagala Medical Officers area took place at 2 centres today. They were given vaccines at Kottagala Tamil National School and Talavakale Tamil National School. A vaccination program was held today at Ratnapura Sumana National School. A vaccination program took place today at Royal College Colombo. Colombo Zonal Education Director G.N. Silva said that vaccination of students in grades 11 and 12 will be commenced from Monday. A total of 448 COVID-19 patients were identified from the country today. Accordingly, the number of active cases in the country has increased up to 18,557. A total of 276 recoveries were reported today, increasing the overall tally to 502,740. The Director General of Health Services has reported today 12 COVID-19 related deaths, which occurred yesterday. 8 out of them were those above the age of 60 years. The number of victims between the ages of 30 and 59 years is 4.
And meanwhile, Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemant Herath made remarks on the Delta Plus variant, which is recognized as a highly transmissible variant of the coronavirus. He made these remarks at a media briefing held today.
There had been reports about a Delta Plus variant emerging in different parts of the world, and it is yet we are too early to come to a conclusion about the characteristics of this new variant at this moment. But within the couple of days, probably the expert will come up with some kind of confirmed information related to this virus. And until such time, Health Ministry is always ready to face even if this new variant comes into Sri Lanka at any time. However, we know that it has to come through the people who are coming into the country, and by the measures that we have already taken, as we have done earlier, we can postpone or delay the entry of the country, entry of this variants into the country as much as possible. But it is extremely impossible to prevent or totally protect the country from these new variants that are coming. However, once it comes, the spread of the disease or the spread of the new variants depends mainly on the ability of people to prevent it by adhering to the health guidelines. So therefore, I would like to urge and request the public that we need to adhere to the health guidelines as much as possible to the letter, so that whatever the new variant that comes will not be spreading in the country as expected or as described in the whatever the information that we are getting. So therefore, what is important is to continue our health measures that we are taking.
Meanwhile, the United States Food and Drug Administration has authorized booster doses of the COVID-19 vaccines from Moderna and Johnson & Johnson and have said that Americans can choose a different shot from their original inoculation as a booster.
The U.S. CDC has recommended COVID-19 vaccine boosters from Moderna and Johnson & Johnson a day after the FDA also approved them. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky signed off late Thursday, also joining the FDA in saying that Americans can mix and match a booster to their original shot. That means all 3 vaccines authorized in the U.S. can also be given as boosters to certain groups. Walensky said they're all, quote, highly effective in reducing the risk of severe disease, hospitalization, and death, even in the midst of the widely circulating Delta variant. A CDC advisory panel recommended booster doses for everyone 18 and older who received a first dose of Johnson & Johnson at least 2 months earlier. For those who received Moderna's vaccine at least 6 months earlier, it recommended a third shot for those 65 and older at risk of severe disease and frontline workers exposed to the virus. Pfizer-BioNTech boosters have already been approved for those at-risk groups. A National Institutes of Health study showed it was safe for adults to mix and match booster shots of different types. Data found people who initially received J&J's shot had a stronger immune response when boosted with either Pfizer-BioNTech or Moderna. Still, FDA officials said it's not clear if any shot combination is preferred. Some 11 million Americans have already received a booster shot, according to data from the CDC.
And Pfizer and German partner BioNTech have said yesterday that data from a phase 3 trial demonstrated high efficacy of a booster dose of the COVID-19 vaccine against the virus, including the Delta variant.
On the fence about getting a COVID-19 vaccine booster shot, this might help. Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech said results from a late-stage clinical trial demonstrated a 95.6% efficacy rate of guarding against the virus, including the highly virulent Delta variant. The trial results released Thursday were based on a study of 10,000 participants 16 years old and older. Among those who got the booster shot, only 5 came down with COVID-19, compared to the placebo group, which saw 109 cases of the disease. The vaccine makers said the median time between the second dose and the booster shot, or the placebo, in the study was around 11 months. The two companies say they will submit data from the trial to the FDA, the European Medicines Agency, and other regulatory agencies as soon as possible. Booster shots from the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine and the Moderna vaccine have been approved in the U.S. and Europe for older populations and for those who are immunocompromised. The FDA also gave the green light on an extra shot of the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine and said Americans can choose a different shot from their original inoculation as a booster.
And meanwhile, our provincial correspondents say that there was an increase of students of schools with less than 200 students arriving in schools today when compared with yesterday. Educational activities of schools with less than 200 students in the Polonnaruwa district were conducted successfully today. Our reporters said that the arrival of students and teachers at schools in Kalutara district was satisfactory today. 27 schools in the Valimad education zone were opened today. Our reporters said more students arrived at schools today when compared with yesterday, and school activities in the Anuradhapura district were conducted today as usual for the second day. More students and teachers arrived at schools in the Colombo district today. Schools in the Vavuniya district conducted educational activities as usual. Parents opposed the members of Ceylon Teachers Union who tried to get information about teachers who came to teach at Vavuniya Mundimuruppu Sri Gunananda Primary School. Teachers and Principals Trade Union Alliance says they will take part in educational activities from Monday. Chairperson of Sri Lanka Podujana Education Services Union Vasantha Handapangoda says that the school education process today was successful when compared with yesterday.
And meanwhile, Minister Udaya Gammanpila says that the Petroleum Corporation is not prepared to increase fuel prices. Expressing his views today to media, the minister said that rumors spread by certain groups about a fuel shortage is totally false. Meanwhile, Lanka IOC company increased a litre of petrol 92 octane and a litre of auto diesel last midnight by 5 rupees. Accordingly, 92 octane petrol at IOC filling stations has increased to 162 rupees. A litre of auto diesel, which was 111 rupees, has been increased to 116 rupees. However, Lanka IOC company has announced that there is no change in the prices of super diesel and octane 95 petrol. Chairman of Petroleum Corporation Sumit Vijay Singh has said that the corporation incurs a loss of 37 rupees and 45 cents from diesel due to the increase of prices in the world market. A loss of 23 rupees and 19 cents is incurred by a litre of 92 octane petrol.
ලීටර එකකින් රුපියල් 23.19ක් අපි පාඩු ලබ. මේක තමයි ඇත්ත.
Minister Udaya Gammanpila says that the opposition and its trade unions have misled the country on 5 occasions, stating that there will be a fuel shortage. There is no reason for a fuel shortage in the country. The government has guaranteed a continued fuel supply. The cabinet has approved $3,600 million of credit from Oman. The agreed is being prepared. The governor of the central bank has assured to provide dollars needed to purchase fuel required for this month. Thereafter, fuel can be purchased from the credit facility. Therefore, there is no reason for a fuel shortage.
The renovated 80 Club premises on Independence Avenue in Colombo 7 was opened yesterday. It was renovated by the Sri Lanka Navy. It was opened yesterday with the attendance of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Renovations commenced in November last year after it was taken over by the Urban Development Authority. It was named as 80 Club since several members commenced the club by holding a meeting at room number 80 of Queen's Hotel in Kandy. Thereafter, it was established on Independence Avenue. Due to the 1971 rebellion, the government had donated the premises to the army. Permission was given again to open the club in 1978. Until the Urban Development Authority took over, it was maintained by the Land Reforms Commission. Renovations commenced on the instructions of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in his capacity as the Urban Development and Housing Minister. The government plans to provide a star-class hotel experience at the club. The Prime Minister handed over a memento to the Commodore M.H. Balasuriya, who was in charge of renovations. Parliamentarians, officials and a group of persons were present on the occasion.
And meanwhile, Chairman of COPE Committee Professor Charita Herath says that a program was implemented during the time of the previous government to remove Malabar Slit Institute from the state ownership. He mentioned this during the adjournment debate on COPE Committee report in Parliament today. Chairman of COPE Committee Professor Charita Herath said that second COPE Committee report is very important. It has presented a special report about Slit Institution. The best story about national resources being removed from the government ownership is connected to the Slit being removed from government ownership. Mr. Vikrama Veerasooriya, who was a board member of Mahapula, is an important person in 1977 government. His behavior as a director of the Mahapula Trust has contributed to gradually end the government's connection with the Slit when an expert opinion is sought in March 2015. Without doing that, Mr. Vikrama Veerasooriya has written the Slit can be given to the trust board. This is a severe offence of removing state property from the government. Mr. Vikrama Veerasooriya had worked as a consultant to the former president. He had presented a cabinet paper under the name of former president and said that the institution should be taken out from the government ownership. A cabinet paper of former president removed the institution from government connection on 4th May 2017. Mr. Vikrama Veerasooriya has issued a gazette notification on 28 June 2017 stating that the institution should not be attached to a government organization. Therefore, Slit Institution has been removed from the government through a systematic operation.
And meanwhile, years after the demise of its creators, the adventures of Asterix and his round partner Obelix continue with their 39th graphic novel. In Asterix and the Griffin, the famous Gauls created by René Goscinny and Albert Uderzo meet the mythical Sarmatian people in modern-day Eastern Europe and Central Asia. The plot of Asterix and the Griffin, the 39th and latest in the series of iconic comic books, with much to the surprise of the main characters, they encounter Sarmatian women during their adventures, fearless female warriors who hunt and fight battles. The book was released worldwide in more than 20 languages yesterday, with an initial print run of over 5 million copies. Asterix fans were in for a treat as the Gaulish warrior and his partner in crime Obelix embark on an adventure to the east, where they met the mysterious Sarmatian people. Asterix and the Obelix's mission is to help protect the Griffin, a mythical creature prized by the Romans. Inventing another country with a different tone, a different environment has allowed author Jean-Yves Ferry and illustrator Didier Conrad to delve into new subject areas including feminism, climate change and conspiracy theories. The book consists of many modern parallels, including the behavior of ancient Romans who disregard the habitats of others, a reflection of modern society and the environmental challenges the world faces. Asterix and the Griffin will be the first installment released after the death of Alberto Uderzo in March 2020, one of the comic book's creators. Head of Chemical Sciences of Sri Javadanapura University, Professor Nilwala Kottegada, says that the environmental-friendly fertilizer produced by the Sri Lanka Nanotechnology Institute has received for US patents. She said that Sri Javadanapura University has received another 2 patents for improved samples of those fertilizer. This was revealed during a media briefing in Colombo today.
The latest concept introduced by the World Food and Agriculture Organization is the climate smart fertilizers, which ensures the fertilizer behaves according to the climate change, and also it ensures the 4R concept applied for agriculture. 4R is right time, right amount, right composition, right target fertilizers and agrochemicals. So this is the globally practiced method of applying fertilizer to the soil. So as a result of these new developments, Sri Lanka too has revisited our fertilizer as well as agricultural practicing methods. Therefore, it is high time for Sri Lanka to move into climate smart agriculture practices with a major aim on improving our depleted soils. Urea used as a first generation fertilizer to supply nitrogen to the plants. So this nitrogen up to 70%, basically 50 to 70% is wasted as greenhouse gases and water soluble leachates. Therefore, it makes a major environmental impact together with specifically an impact on the soil condition. Therefore, the scientists as well as technologists has come up with new methods of minimizing this wastage through targeted or slow release delivery mechanisms. Similar to the drug delivery, it is agriculture plant nutrients delivered through slow release mechanisms, specifically using nanotechnology as the driving vehicle. We, together with SLINTEC, Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology, back in 2010, introduced the new concept of nano urea to the world for the first time. It was the very first innovation based on urea. We have already received 3 US patents extending to several other countries, as well as 1 patent is still pending. We didn't stop there because we thought the technology has to be further developed. SLINTEC, together with University of Sri Javadanapura, we developed the next generation advanced fertilizer. There we tried to move towards green principles of manufacturing this fertilizer.
The production of this particular nano fertilizer in Sri Lanka has no restriction as far as the production and utilization locally is concerned. And the other advantage in this slow release and control release fertilizer is these nutrients can be regulated at the rate of migration into the plant, the transport mechanisms, and anchoring these macro or micronutrients onto the scaffolding, which this case hydroapatite scaffolding is used as a platform.
The delegation, including the Mahasangha who travelled in the first flight to India's Kushinagar airport, returned to the country yesterday. The delegation includes 100 Buddhist monks and Minister Namal Rajapaksa. Kushinagar is India's 29th international airport. It was opened by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A Sri Lankan flight touched down at the airport as the first flight at Kushinagar airport on an invitation from Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The government of India warmly welcomes the delegation, including the Mahasangha and Minister Namal Rajapaksa. The delegation took part in religious practices. The sacred Kapilavastu relics taken from Vaskadu at Rajaguru Sri Vibhuti temple were displayed in India. The Mahasangha and Minister Namal Rajapaksa, who attended the opening of Kushinagar Airport, paid homage to the Sarnath temple where the Buddha delivered his first sermon. They also worshipped Parinirvana Stupa at Kushinagar, where the Buddha is considered to have passed away at the Ramabar Stupa. The delegation also worshipped Mulagandhakuti temple at Varanasi in India. The Mahasangha, who returned to the island yesterday, said that the visit strengthened Indo-Sri Lanka relations further.
Saubhagya Kapruka, the national program, was launched today at the auditorium of Lunavilla Coconut Research Institute. Ceylon Coconut brand name and the website were launched on the occasion. The hotline number 1928 and WhatsApp number 070-400-1928 were introduced to send any information related to coconut cultivations. Memorandum of Understanding was signed with Kurunagal Plantations Company and coconut saplings were distributed on the occasion. Minister Ramesh Patirana and State Minister Arundika Fernando attended the event.
Constructions of Kot Tower Makumbura Middle Income Earners Housing Complex have been expedited. The project is implemented under the program to provide 3,000 new houses for the people without homes. The housing complex is being built near High Level Road closer to Makumbura Multipurpose Transport Centre and the Southern Expressway entrance. There are 314 houses in the complex which are scheduled to be given on 25-year long-term installment payment system. A low interest rate will be charged as a concession for the people who are purchasing the houses. The 700 square feet house is consisted with 2 bedrooms while a 900 square feet house is consisted of 3 bedrooms. Constructions are supervised by the Urban Development Authority. The housing complex is consisted of many facilities including trade stalls and vehicle parks. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed the Urban Development Authority to build the houses with highest quality.
Sri Lanka Tourist Board says that Sri Lanka exhibition stall at the Dubai Expo 2020 is getting a huge visitor attraction. The stall is maintained by Sri Lanka Tea Board, Sri Lankan Airlines, Dubai Consular Office and the Embassy at United Arab Emirates. The Dubai Expo 2020 exhibition, which commenced on the 1st of this month, is scheduled to be held until the end of March next year. The exhibition is spread over 1,083 acres. 192 countries are represented at the exhibition. Sri Lanka exhibition stall has been able to attract more than 10,000 people during the last 20 days. The only exhibition stall which provides refreshments for the viewers during the exhibition is Sri Lanka exhibition stall.
And with that sports update, we are going to conclude tonight's news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.